It's funny, Alex. It's kind of like it's a comfort food episode. You have mozzarella sticks.
Yeah, my lunch.
And I have Nutella.
Nice. Sorry.
That's it.
I'm sorry.
What?
I don't know.
Wow. Alex, we're back.
Yeah.
What a start. In studio as well.
Yeah, we're in studio. Got a whole lot to talk about.
The Washington game is on, along with the Pittsburgh Penguins. 1-0, Jacob Verana.
You know what else is on right now? Or it's going to start in about half an hour?
Baseball.
Baseball.
Spring training, is it they call it?
I believe so. I think that's what they call it.
Is it spring yet?
I don't think so.
Isn't it supposed to be a shorter, like winter should be done soon, the groundhogs are doing something?
Yeah, the groundhog made a prediction.
What
the Farmer's Almanac, right?
What a dumb idea, by the way. Let's look at this random animal. It's a ground pig.
Yeah.
To determine a season's length.
It's confusing.
We yell about
listen, they do the same thing with science, right? We do the same thing. A couple tournaments do this. There's like an octopus or something. Have you seen that before? The octopus goes towards one thing, and that's the team that's going to win. I'm like, man, like you really believe that?
No. I thought you were about to go to Detroit for a second there.
No.
Okay.
No, not
octopus.
Detroit. No. Okay, shall we just get started?
Yeah. I guess we're starting off with the Power Hour. And I think we should make the Power Hour presented by Bobby Ryan today. Of course, back in November, Bobby Ryan entered the NHL PA Assistance Program. We didn't know exactly what was up. There were some whispers, but of course you don't want to... With stuff like this, you want to be sure. But it came out a couple of days ago. I'll just read you this quote. That he's opened up about struggling with alcohol addiction. And, quote, "I was trying to white knuckle thing and do things the wrong way," Ryan said. "I'd have 20 days of nothing and one real bad one, and you just can't get better without help. There's such a stigma around asking for help, and I was trying to do it. I've done that for a long time," end quote.
Well, it's awesome that he's getting help.
Oh, yeah.
There's seems like there's a lot of issues going on.
He's
just in general, and it's good that he's getting help.
Yeah.
I think it's just really good. Like, awesome.
He's always been I think he's been an underrated personality in the game as Bobby Ryan. So it's really nice to see, he's figuring his life out. He's not had the easiest one, of course. And right. It sucks that outside of it, a lot of people have just kind of laughed at the whole Bobby Ryan. Of course, the terrible contract, part of the joke that is the Sens, but of course, just good for Bobby Ryan.
Yeah.
Because when he was at his best, he was good.
Yeah.
One of the most underrated skill guys in the league back in his prime, I'll say. But anyway,
who drafted him?
I believe it was the Ducks.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that was Brian Burke. That's where you were going with that. Every time I see Crosby, I'm saying, "Oh, this close to being a Duck." It's really funny that a few picks later, Carey Price is available, by the way. But anyway, we talk about primes. I didn't know you could still be in your prime at 34 years old, but Alex Ovechkin, who has now hit 700 goals.
700 goals.
What's that, 194 away from Gretzky?
I don't even know.
I believe
I'll find out.
I think Gretzky's at 894, I think is the record.
I believe so too. We're going to pull it up.
But he's hit 700, the second youngest player.
894 goals.
894. So Ovechkin, the second youngest player to hit 700 goals.
He's going to beat Wayne Gretzky's record.
He had, I think it was a season high 5-game goalless drought, which is hilarious to think about.
The guy's a beast.
It sucks it was against the Devils, though.
What? Yeah, because no one's talking about it?
Oh my God.
But the thing is, everyone's talking about it because it's 700 goals.
No, by the end of that day, no one cared about Alex Ovechkin
because
700 goals.
An emergency backup goal was in net.
We'll get to that. Well, you're laughing now, but I don't know how long that's going to last.
Like 30 seconds.
It just sucks because they're playing the Penguins right now. And imagine if he had done it in Washington versus the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Oh, that would be 10 times better.
You think Sid says anything to him?
Probably.
I'd hope so.
I can't imagine.
They don't hate each other.
Considering Sid's personality, I don't think there's a whole lot of hatred between the two of them now.
No. They don't like each other, but...
I don't think they hate each other, though.
No. Unless it's the playoffs. But anyway, Alex,
That's a different story.
Speaking about the playoffs, or lack thereof for certain teams, I thought they really had it this year, Alex.
I thought they were so close. They were one player away.
You know what's really funny about the Detroit Red Wings? Beside the fact that they just got mathematically eliminated from the playoffs in February.
Have a goal differential of below, it's like negative 108.
Oh my god. They might beat the record for that too.
I don't even know what the record is.
I think it was the first, like the quickest elimination since, I think I saw this 90s, I think.
I think so.
Which is incredible.
So the next team with the lowest goal differential is Ottawa with negative 48.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, I remember at the start of the season I said I don't think Detroit's going to be as bad as we all think. And oh boy, was I wrong.
Well, how bad did you think they were going to be?
I saw Larkin. I thought he's pretty good. I saw Lil Bert. I thought Lil Bertuzzi's pretty good. I thought Bernier's not that terrible.
Okay.
I didn't account that Jimmy Howard would only have 2 wins. But
Bernier's 13, 18, and 2. Okay, that's fine. Wait, just let me tell you Jimmy Howard.
Oh.
He's 2, 22, and 2.
That's incredible.
That is devastating.
Zamboni Drivers have 1 less win than Jimmy Howard this season.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That's insane. Insanely bad. Just to be clear. Insanely bad.
Imagine if
bad.
they don't get Lafreniere.
They have Steve Yzerman as their GM. They're going to get 1st, 2nd, and 3rd overall.
Somehow.
Mike
Green for 2 seconds and a first, and who knows, Thomas Chabot, the way it's looking.
Probably.
Because he got hurt last night.
Yeah.
Clean. Brendan Gallagher's not a pest. He just battles hard. But anyway, we talk about them.
So you said he's not a pest?
Okay, no, Brendan Gallagher, sorry. He's not a rat. He's a pest. But like Brendan Gallagher is a dirty player.
Okay, that's
absolutely not.
Yeah, I agree with that.
He's the guy who gets cross-checked in the face by someone a foot taller than him and barely even flinches about it. But anyway.
Someone's still angry about that?
Oh, of course I am. But, Brendan Gallagher's a little bundle of joy. Speaking of little bundles of joy, though. 5'4" Nathan Gerbe versus the Philadelphia Flyers a few days ago. You ever seen that video of those 2 koalas fighting in a tree?
I apologize, I have not.
It's adorable. And Nathan Gerbe, to me, the shortest player in the NHL, is kind of adorable.
Yeah, man. It's not like he's young either. Right?
He's been around. He just got back in the NHL this year, too.
How tall is he?
He's 5'4".
He's 32.
He's that old?
Yeah, man.
I know he just got a contract extension. He'll probably be kind of like what Rich Clune is to the Leafs.
Probably. But he's the shortest player in the NHL.
Yeah. But
That's insane.
He threw a big hit in the Flyers game. Of course, he's a Blue Jacket. And then Travis Sanheim tries to go after him.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't really that much of a fight. It was kind of just pushing. And somehow Gerbe got Sanheim off his feet. I'm not going to say he won the fight, but I mean, you could say, he did.
He won the fight.
Did Columbus win last night? Because I think I saw they were on a 7-game losing streak. What happened?
On a 7-game losing streak?
Yeah. They were.
I don't know what's happening with this team, to be honest. Let me check for you.
I wonder if, while you're checking that, they're just starting to run out of gas.
Well, they have no players.
That's
true. They literally have no players.
I think Oliver Bjorkstrad got hurt again.
10 weeks.
10
or 8
weeks.
to 10 weeks. They lost in shootout to Nashville.
But they have Nathan Gerbe.
They are 2-3-5 in their last 10. They're tied technically for the second wild card spot, but Carolina is ahead of them because Carolina has played 61 games. Columbus has played 63. And the Rangers are 4 points behind them with 2 games in hand.
You see Lundqvist got scratched the other day?
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
And just a last note on Columbus. These guys are on IR. Cam Atkinson, Brandon Dubinsky, Seth Jones, Alex Winberg, Ryan Murray, Josh Anderson, Alex Texier, and Dean Kuhn.
Wow.
And Jonas Korpisalo is currently doing some conditioning, staying with the Monsters.
I did see that.
I believe it's the Monsters.
Yes, it is Cleveland Monsters.
Cleveland.
That is a lot of players.
Yeah.
That's 8 or 9, sorry, with Korpisalo. That's 9. And it's not like these guys aren't impact players. Cam Atkinson, impact player. Seth Jones, impact player.
Amazing
Ryan
player.
Murray, I get he's not as good as where he was picked, but impact player. Josh Anderson should be an impact player.
Good one, House.
Texier, young,
Great player.
great player.
He's French.
I mean, whatever you think of Brandon Dubinsky,
Locker room presence.
locker room presence. Like, those are a lot of guys that they could use on the ice right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because half of these names are meaningless to me. Calvin Thurkov, Stefan Matteau.
I remember Stefan Matteau.
I don't.
He's a former first-round pick by the Devils. Came to Montreal for Devontae Smith-Pelly, actually.
That's...
And then he was in Vegas at some time. He actually, really funny, he hung up on the TSN guys because they were taking too long to talk to him on the phone at trade deadline.
Wow.
Yeah, no, Stefan Matteau is something, I'll tell you that. But hey.
It can get messy for this team. And I think when we did our halfway trade predictions, not trade, but halfway standings, we still had Columbus in the play. Like, I did. I don't remember if you did, but I know I did. I think I had them in a wild card spot. And I don't even know.
They're an interesting team.
Because the thing is, it's not like a lot of these injuries are short term.
No.
They're like Bjorkstrand, 8 to 10 weeks.
Jones is just gone.
Jones is gone.
Korpisalo's been gone since before the All-Star break.
Right. Josh Anderson is out. No one even knows.
I don't even know when he played last. We talked about Anderson and his impact like a few weeks ago when he still hadn't played. So that's just... And I haven't heard his name all year except for trade talk. So, but anyway, we'll move on from Columbus. We'll talk more about them a little later. And how I believe they're not going to actually do much of the trade deadline, which is tomorrow, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. But talking about trade deadline, I originally thought that I wasn't going to get up early and watch it, but I think I am now.
I don't have the time.
Yeah, because you're very busy tomorrow.
I have an interview in the morning, and then I have a midterm at 3 o'clock. So you're going to give me all the information during our 6 o'clock class.
Yes. I also.
Well, we won't be talking. We won't be talking during that class,
because
obviously.
we respect Gary Gould.
And we are good students.
Quick mention to the people at Ryerson. So there's a guy named Donald. I know Donald has listened to the show before. I don't know if he listens to every episode, but God bless Daniel, who was supposed to be here today. But he's such a nice guy that he swapped, I guess, eye-opener stories of Donald, and Daniel didn't realize that it actually... We record at 12:30. It's 10 to 1 now. Yeah. And he has to be at a Rams volleyball game. Ryerson Rams. Go Rams, by the way. At 2 o'clock. So we couldn't get Daniel today because he was so kind to switch with Donald. So Donald, if you're listening, I love you, dude. Really nice guy is Donald, by the way. I've talked to him a few times over the past few years. Went to a party, same party as him once. So you're a really nice guy, right? Remember I talked to him about a night that the Leafs had beat the Jets and how big a win it was. I remember that. No. All I remember from that party, to be honest with you. But Donald, I'm a bit upset with you that you've cost me a co-host. But anyway, we'll keep moving on. Trade deadline, yeah. Bruce Boudreau will be on the Sportsnet broadcast and Gerard Gallant for TSN.
Not only I love both of them. I don't know which one I'm gonna watch if I get the chance. But,
yeah, I have that problem too.
But Sportsnet is killing it. You know, you have Bruce Boudreau. You have Kevin Bieksa,
who has been a star this year.
Ryan Kessler,
Mr. Grumpy,
and Paul Bizanet.
And
Nasty.
And I can't remember his name. Former Leaf. His car got keyed.
Oh, Chris Versteeg. Yeah.
I think TSN normally have Steve Simmons on these broadcasts. Pierre McGuire.
No, good.
Yeah.
Good.
You know why Bruce Boudreau fits into the Sportsnet broadcast so well?
Tell me.
Because he's a closet Leafs fan.
Huh. He is. No,
He's not closet.
He's
He
not closet.
admits
He's
it.
not closet. I remember his mom was at a Leafs game against Minnesota. And he's just openly a Leafs fan.
He's got his arms up when Matthews buries a view. Like, attaboy, Austin.
He is just an open Leafs fan.
I love that. Anyway, Alex, you know how we close out the Power Hour. We're not going to do Read of the Bye Week because there's just too much to get to. But we're in studio, and that means there's a pop quiz. Any idea what the pop quiz will be about today?
Backup goalies.
No.
Emergency backup goalies.
No. Now, you did ask me whether it was going to be at the Habs. I said no, because it's not about the Habs organization, but it is about, please, into the mic, tell me and the listeners what you are looking at right now.
It's about Carey Price.
It is a Carey Price quiz. Now, can you describe the cover page to the listeners, please?
It has a picture of Carey Price in front of reporters.
I think that's at a Habs golf tournament, so
Probably.
I'm gonna give you a pen.
Do I have to write? Can I just answer the questions out loud?
No, you know what? Yeah, sure, Alex. So, why don't you go ahead and read the first question out loud, please?
At what number was Carey Price drafted in 2005 NHL entry draft?
Mm-hmm. Please read the options to the listeners.
5th overall, 4th overall, 6th overall, and 7th overall.
Mm-hmm.
Is it 5th overall?
It was.
It was, yeah.
It was 5th overall.
Just making sure. In what year did Carey Price win the Calder Cup with the Hamilton Bulldogs? 2006, 7, 8, or 2005?
Just a quick fun fact about that. Do you know who actually was running the Bulldogs back then?
No.
Julian Brisebois,
Oh.
current GM of the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Of the team that just gets whatever the hell they want.
Mm-hmm.
Was it? No, because in 2006 he was with the Tri-City. Was he not?
I can't tell you that.
Was it 2005? Or is it a trick question? He didn't play for the Hamilton Bulldogs.
I can't tell you that.
Okay, 2005.
No, because he would have been drafted in 2005.
Yeah, so he would have.
So the playoffs.
Oh, Calder Cup. I am so sorry.
I'll let you answer that
Sorry,
again.
let me answer it again. I got confused. Because Hamilton used to be.
Montreal's, there was about 2 AHL clubs away.
Yeah,
from the
they
Habs.
and I think now they're an OHL team, are they not?
They are, yes.
That's why I got confused.
They won the
Calder Cup.
Yeah, they were in the Memorial Cup, I think, last year.
Apologies.
No worries.
2007.
Yes.
Okay.
Of course.
Because 2006 he was playing Tri-City Americans. I remember he told me that one time.
Yeah, he went back to Tri-City for a year, and he actually. 2007 was a big year for Carey Price.
So I'm 2 for 2 right now.
Yeah, good job.
Question 3: in what year did Carey Price win World Junior Gold?
Mm-hmm.
So 2006, 5, 7, and 4. So he wouldn't have been able to play 2007. That would have made him too old. 2005.
It was actually in 2007 as well.
How?
I don't know, but
Would he
Wikipedia
not
says
been
that.
too old? So what did he win it both years or just 2007?
So he only actually played the one in the big, U21.
Okay.
He was at like the U18 when he won silver, and then at the actual, big World Junior U20, he did win gold.
In 2007?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. That's why I said 2007 was a big year for Carey Price.
Right. So I'm 2 for 3.
Yeah.
Question 4: has Carey Price won the Lou Marshall Award?
Which is, of course, given to the Canadian Athlete of the Year.
I believe that's true. I think he won it the year he won the Hart.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
2015.
Okay.
Where he won the Hart, the only goaltender to win the Vezina, the Jennings, the Hart, and the Lindsay in a single season.
Okay, 3 for 4.
Yeah.
Which one of these Canadians' records does Price not own? The most shutouts, most wins, most games played, most losses. I believe it's most games played.
The only record Carey Price does not own of those 4 is actually shutouts. The record is 75.
Really?
He doesn't have 50.
You know why I went with most games played is because when back in the days, like players were playing 70 games a year, like consistently.
Yep.
Right? And I don't think Price has been playing 70 games a year consistently.
Well, no.
No, but not to the extent that those guys were literally playing every single year.
The difference is that the Habs were really, really good for about ever, especially in the 70s and all that. Carey Price has not had a great team in front of him. Yeah, he owns fun fact, I was at the game where he got the games played record, and he got such an ovation. Apparently he was he was crying.
Yeah.
And a report came out the goaltender coach for Montreal, Stefan Waite, actually said that Price told him that he actually thought the fans had stopped liking him, and it meant the world to him. Wins, of course, he got this year, and losses he does own, actually, which is a shame, but, he has everything else. So, and yeah, shutouts, the record is 75. Price, I think, got 48th last night against the Sens. So,
yes,
I don't think he's going to beat that one, but
you never know.
Looking at the era he plays in, there is a legit argument he's the best Habs goalie ever. I think it's without a question Waugh if he had stayed.
Yeah.
But then you think Stanley Cups and how much you value them, pretty big deal, but just you look at the teams in front of them, I really do think Price has a legit shot to be the Habs' best goalie in history.
So I went 3 for 5.
Yeah, which you passed. It's good enough.
Whatever. I'm not complaining.
I think Daniel would have gotten that right. Like, I think Daniel for sure does as well as you, especially the World Juniors question, because he loves that.
He knows.
But anyway, we are done the Power Hour. Now we have our big segments to talk about, Alex. And
so how are we going to split this thing up? Why don't you tell everyone?
So we've decided that we're going to start the show because, of course, we're going to have a big big dive into the trade deadline.
Every single team.
But first, we're going to talk about the Leafs and the Habs, or Leafs first, because there's some stuff last night, ladies and gentlemen, then the Habs, and I think we're going to do the rest of the East, then the West.
Sure.
And I think that will be it. Hopefully there's a trade or something that happens, because
that would be insane.
I'd be amazed if there wasn't some sort of big development today. But anyway, Alex, because I'm assuming here we're also going to talk about trade. So before we actually get into all that, I just want to say that at this time of the year, I think we all need to remember the human side of the trade deadline. Last year, of course, Mikael Granlund got traded, I think, right after his first child was born. And Lundqvist, how emotional he was, and Matt Zuccarello got traded. And Kevin Bieksa was talking last night about how it's tense for players. And there's this picture of Philip Deneau, Brendan Gallagher, and Tomas Tatar, because they've been aligned basically the entire time Tatar's been a Hab. And it was just, Deneau and Gallagher was smiling, and Tatar had the solemn look. Like, the Habs knew exactly what they were doing, putting that picture up.
Right.
And it's like, these guys are best friends, It's just, we all need to remember the highlights and the real, like, these are people with families and friends. When we start yelling about, we got to trade this guy for a scoring winger with some grit and toughness. Yeah. So I just wanted to say that, Alex.
I hope you know this entire segment, Toronto, Montreal, and the rest of the teams, I haven't even taken that into account.
Well, Alex, it's hockey media. It's sport media.
Sorry.
So I guess to talk about the Leafs, Alex, Where do you want to start? I'm going to read you something.
Is it a quote from Mitch Marner?
It's not a quote from Mitch
Sheldon
Marner.
Keefe?
I don't care about any of the quotes the Leafs had.
Oh, just wait. I'm going to go into it.
So, for those of you who missed it last night, the Leafs might have had
the most embarrassing game in the history of the franchise.
Yes, for sure. Worse than any of the Game 7s, worse than National 9-2, the most embarrassing loss in Leafs history. Arguably one of the worst in NHL history. Now, you may be asking why. So, the Marlies have a Zamboni driver by the name of David Ayers. He's 42 years old. He actually had a kidney transplant in 2004. Hasn't played pro hockey in 5 years. He's actually supposed to practice with the Leafs today.
But they canceled it.
They canceled practice, did they? That's funny.
That's
so,
idiots.
Early in the first period versus the Carolina Hurricanes, James Reimer goes down. A little while later in the second period, Pete Mrazek has, I don't know what he was doing, but has an ugly...
That was just stupid.
Has an ugly... collision, that's the word, Adam.
Yeah.
With the new guy. I can't remember his name. Kyle Clifford. And he goes off the net. So here we go. Here comes the Carolina Hurricanes emergency backup, Mr. David Ayers, the Zamboni driver for the Toronto Marlies. Comes out, number 90, his blocker, his pads, his mask is all Marlies gear. And Alex, I just... Take it from here, please.
Not only, let's just... Because I was going to do the trade talk first because I don't have a whole lot. Then I was going to rip into the team. But not only is he the Zamboni driver, but this man practiced with the Leafs a couple times when they needed an extra goalie when they wanted to give Freddie days off. So not only was he the Zamboni driver, just to be clear. So I don't know exactly where to start because the team has no identity. Zero. You know, based on how they're playing right now, I'd argue that they should just sell on Barry, and you can recuperate some assets for him. There was obviously the talk of TJ Brody, right?
Yes, that
not gonna happen.
You don't think so?
And I'll tell you why. Number one, it doesn't make any sense. It's not a hawk. It's not something Kyle Dubas is interested. Why would he bring him in if he's not going to re-sign him?
There was interest. There was the Kadri deal.
There was the interest in summer. So Kadri had Calgary on his no-trade list. Then it came out that, what's his name? That Brody put Toronto on his modified no-trade list.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I don't know how he's going to be a Leaf. But okay. At this point, if you're going to sell, which I'd argue, the thing with this team is it's not necessarily selling. It's just a reset. Get rid of Tyson Barrie. You know, if you make the playoffs or you don't make the playoffs, if they make the playoffs, they're going to get smacked. They're going to play Boston or Tampa, and they're going to look like children on ice. It's like taking the Toronto Marlies and playing them against 15-year-olds. It's going to look ugly.
Or against the Detroit Red Wings. At this point, you're just looking to bring in defensemen who will play out the rest of the season. Well, speaking of defense.
Yeah.
Because depth has been a big discussion about this team. You've really hammered on that if the Leafs are going to make a move, it's going to be for a depth player. And I would think it would be a centerman. Because obviously, right now, your middlemen are Matthews, fantastic, Tavares, fantastic. And it sounded like Kerfoot / mid-30s Spezza. And,
Well, I believe against Pittsburgh and again the second game against Pittsburgh. And last night, Kerfoot played center.
Was he good?
I can't even tell you if he was good because the team plays like garbage. Yeah, it was okay. Like, he's a center, right? He's a third-line center. And then you have Spezza at number 4, and you're apparently playing Gauthier at wing. But Gauthier can play center if you need him to.
But are either of them... Now, Spezza's been great since Babcock left, but I don't think he's the type of guy you want as a full-time center in a deep playoff run.
No, I don't think you want him as your third-line center. And the way Keefe is rolling his lines... I wouldn't mind him playing fourth-line center. Mm-hmm. But they brought in 2 guys. They brought in Dennis Mulligan and they brought in Max Verono. Max Verono is going to play in the AHL. Dennis Mulligan's played the last couple of games. Apparently, he looked good Tuesday night. I don't even know what the hell last night was because I could barely concentrate. So, you know, that's what it is at this point. At this point, he needs to bring in a depth defenseman and get rid of Barrie. I don't care if people think I'm overreacting. Even if they make the playoffs, they're going to get killed. The team needs a reset. Any other trades that people think are happening with Kerfoot happening, I mean, I guess Janssen not anymore because he's injured. Mm-hmm. They're all going to be done during the summer.
Probably at the draft, yeah.
Yeah. So, that's that. I have no other trade talk.
Real, not even some stuff on Tyson Barrie. Because apparently Frank Saravelli and Friedman have all said that.
Okay, so Tyson Barrie is going to get traded. At this point, I don't even know what else to say. Get traded. Okay, Vancouver's interested. I heard Vegas' his name.
Vegas, Calgary, Carolina.
Yeah.
Vancouver.
Okay, so what are you going to get back from? Because for me, I think it's you get back assets that either, number one, you can develop, knowing that this team can develop. You look at half the players on this team played for the Marlies. Mm-hmm. half of this team played for the Marlies.
And played for Sheldon Keefe under those Marlies.
Right. So they can develop. Like they're not clueless. And they bring in, they make it a bigger deal for bringing in someone who's going to be a permanent fix. But there's no one solution to this problem, and I'm going to get to it after. But there's no one solution to fixing the Leafs.
I was going to try and pitch you a Troy Stecher deal with Barry, but no.
That doesn't fix it. That makes it worse. Is Troy Stecher right-handed?
Yes.
Okay, can he play with Morgan Riley?
I think he could, yeah. I think he's a steady Eddie defenseman.
Okay,
he's
what's he closer?
Than Barry. When it comes to defense, I mean, not offensively.
So but is he decent? Is he a decent defenseman? Like, can he move the puck? Because if that's not the case, you're just bringing in a better defensive player than Ron Hainsey. Because that's what we've been giving Morgan Riley year after year after year. We gave him Nikita Zaitsev. We gave him Ron Hainsey. I don't even know who the hell he was playing with before that. Probably Dion.
Probably.
That's the starting issue. There's the biggest issue with this team is obviously its maturity, but since we'll get to that after, Barry should be traded. I don't know what else you can do with this team right now to fix. You're not fixing it. You're not fixing it in the middle of the season because it's not. I don't think it's a player problem. It's a mentality problem. So you're gonna trade Barry. Now give me. So you said Vegas, Vancouver, Carolina, and Calgary. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what can those teams offer the Leafs?
See, it sounds like what Vancouver are probably the only asset I can really that comes to mind because they've dealt their first, they've dealt their second is Troy Stecher, who has 1 year. Well, he'll be an RFA in July 1st. Vegas. I don't know because it felt like I was surprised to see they had interest because they made their move Martinez.
Apparently, they weren't satisfied with just the Martinez deal.
Really?
That's what I heard. The thing is, I've heard so many mixed things about Alec Martinez that he's the guy they're looking for. But I've heard guys saying like, man, he's just not as good as he used to be.
Really? Well, of course, he is a physical defenseman.
Right.
And again, take him out and see what he does out of LA.
Right.
Who they are a bad team.
And do they have their first round pick? Because I'm thinking what do you get for Tyson Barrie? He's burned so much money. The money is a burnt. He wanted 8 years, $8 million. I was so stupid thinking that would be a smart idea.
They do have their first, and they have. I just realized. They're about to get this year. They'll have their second that they got from Pittsburgh from Marc-Andre Fleury.
Right.
So they have a first and a second. I mean, if you're the Leafs, if you want to try again, they don't have much to add. The Leafs are going to go and be like, all right, give me a first and Nick Hague or Cody Glass. The Vegas are going to do that.
No, but they need. The thing is, right now, I'm looking at their right side. The Leafs' right side is so depleted. Not depleted. It so just feels empty because the only guy they're betting on right now is Timothy Liljegren, and they just signed Justin Hall for 3 more years. Then what? You have Timothy Liljegren, Justin Hall, and maybe Travis Dermott if he can play on the right side.
And Justin Hall is, great deal, great contract.
He has not looked good since he signed that deal.
He's a 5'6" defenseman.
He's not looked good since he signed that deal. I don't know what the issue is.
I don't know what else. I mean, we can talk about selling to an extent, but again, it's like the Leafs have to make a move, right? After last night, you can't just not change anything.
No, you have to change something, but you look at this team, what are you going to change? You're not going to trade one of the big four mid-season.
And can they really make... Because apparently, we found out headlines last night. Also, I should probably mention, all this information we have here is, of course, from guys like Saravelli, Friedman, Johnson, Dreger. It's just, There's so much. Please know that, we can try and source as much as we can, but it's from those big guys. So please, sourcing is very important to us as journalism students. Yeah. But because we found out last night, of course, CC and Riley are expected to be back by the end of March.
Don't even bring them back. It's not worth it. If you're going to play like this, you're not going to make the playoffs. And even if you do, you're going to get smacked in 4 games.
What do they do? Besides Tyson Barrie, like, what else do they do?
Nothing. Trade Tyson Barrie. Say, the GM goes down, trades Tyson Barrie. Say, you guys want to play like idiots? Man, this guy's gone. You can't do anything else right now.
Well, okay,
you can't trade Kapanen because the depth is going to look... It's going to really look bad.
So I guess trade talk is a bit flat there for the Leafs. Beside Barrie, that we don't...
I can't... You're not making a bigger deal. You can't.
Then, should we talk about the game last night?
We're going to talk about all 3 games. I just have a whole list of notes. Can I just go through it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
And this is, you're starting at the first Pittsburgh game.
No, this is just a combination. You know what the problem is with this team is that the performance they gave last night and the performance they gave on Tuesday is the same freaking thing. And then the performance they gave on Wednesday was a joke. It was a literal joke.
So before you go, though, let me just mention this. So for ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, Alex actually got onto, what is it, Leafs Laughs Live? I've never heard of the show.
Laugh, Leafs.
That's a fantastic title, by the way.
I know.
And you were very calm, cool, and collective on that. You made some really good points.
I know.
You got kudos from them, but now I feel like you're really about to let
explode.
rip here.
So last night they played the Hurricanes, lost 6-3.
Allowed 50 shots.
Allowed 50 shots. How? Okay, here's what I said. I did the voicemail, DM, whatever. They listened to it. And I was talking about the team is fooling us. The team is literally saying, hey, you know what? We'll play good for 1 game. Just to trick the fans into thinking we're good.
I don't mean to laugh, but I love that thing. We're going to trick the fans into thinking we're good.
What is it? What is the point? They don't look like they care. And it's just, oh my God. Like Tuesday, we recorded the podcast Tuesday night, which I wish we did it. I wish we did it Wednesday, because I would have ripped this team apart Wednesday too. Mm-hmm. I watched a part of the first period while I was editing the podcast. I'm like, man, this is a joke. Then I get a call from my friends. Want to go out? You bet your ass I'm going out. I can't. I'm not gonna sit here and watch this.
And then I think I texted you that Teddy Bluger scored, and you just
called
explode.
me.
I called you.
You called me and said, you're like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, yeah, I know it's 4-0. Go, no, it's 5. I'm like, great. Who scored? Teddy Bluger. That guy's not real. And to sit there and tell and if you're on Twitter telling someone that there's one issue, you're clueless. You're clueless. There's a million issues with this team. Okay, currently, minus Thursday, because that was a joke. Offensive performance is average, defense is subpar, and Freddie is struggling.
He has not been good.
To blame it on one specific thing, to sit there and say, Freddie, Freddie's not been good. The rest of the team's been garbage. They don't look like they care. They literally don't. They need to wake up. They have to wake up. It's like they don't understand what the implications are.
And a lot of this, by the way, not caring. It says something when you get... A big point was made in that first Penguins game that if getting Malkin off the ice, and the Leafs just couldn't do anything. When Pittsburgh had just lost one of the best players in the league. And then, of course, you go to Carolina. Your minor league team's Zamboni Driver is now in net. Now, you get 2 in the second, but then you fall apart in the third. You can score at will versus this guy if you wanted to.
Matthews should have had a hat trick.
Yeah.
You have 3. We'll take Nylander out. 3 of the best players in the NHL, and you couldn't, let alone score. You couldn't get a puck on net. I don't care how good Carolina's defense last night. You have 3 of the best players in the NHL. You have William Nylander. You have everyone else, and you couldn't get a puck on net, let alone score a goal. It was a joke.
It was beer league.
It was a joke. And you know, I said it before, the team has no identity. You know, I thought, you know, we've been complaining about this identity thing since game one, and you were going to have an identity, you know, after 20 games. That's when a team gets their identity. Did you listen to the 15 minute whatever clip from Overdrive?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so Jeff O'Neill, apparently, this is what he said on his way to work, was calling people that worked in teams for the NHL. This is what they said. If the team doesn't turn over the puck or take the other team doesn't turn over the puck or take penalties, what else are the Leafs going to do?
By the way, I don't mean to interrupt you here, but I thought you'd be a little sour, so I thought I'd bring something sweet, and I want to give you a caramel bar.
Thank you. I'm a little sour.
So, I did see this, yes.
That.
And it's a good point, because the Leafs have made a point of saying, our power play is our toughness.
I don't care anymore. You know what Brian Hayes said in the same clip?
What?
They have the exact same style of play, regardless of the score and regardless of who they play. You cannot, under any circumstances, go down 5-0. I don't care who you're playing. You're supposed to be a contending team. This is what you're telling us, that you're a contending team. And you go down 5-0, and then we start trying.
When Matthews scored in the Leafs' second goal, a part of me said, oh no, they might do this.
I don't care. It's ridiculous. Last night they were down 4-1, then they were down 6-3, and then lost the game 6-3. You can't go down like this and then start trying, because in the playoffs, when you go down 4-0 to the Boston Bruins, you're not scoring any goals. Zero.
They have
Zero.
We talked about this term a lot. They have the killer instinct. When they want to, they shut a game down and win. By the way, just quick thing, the Bruins got murdered last night.
They did.
But that doesn't happen often, so it's not like...
And I'm going to say this again.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm going to say this
keep
again. Going. It's all about... Say it with me. It's all about the details. Stop trying to play this BS beer league shinny crap turnover game.
What was it they said on that show? Trying to beat every defenseman before trying to get on the highlight reel?
Yeah, you don't have to make the perfect goal. I promise you, if you score cross-ice passes every single time, score off those passes, I'll be perfectly fine. You don't have to dangle everyone.
It's not NHL 20.
It's not NHL 20. It's not your local beer league. It's not a random game of shinny on outdoor ice. Put the puck in the net. I don't care how you do it. No one cares how you do it. When I go back and say Austin Matthews scored 60 goals, I don't care how he scored 60 goals. He scored 60 goals. I don't care.
What was Ovechkin said? I don't care if it's empty netter or anything. A goal is a goal.
A goal is a goal. Last time I checked, a goal is a goal.
A concussion is a concussion.
Yeah.
Science.
Science. And can I just tell you this quote from Marner?
Sure.
This is from Tuesday night. We all know we have the skill, but we don't have the work ethic every single night, with every single guy buying in. Skill only takes you so far, and then the work ethic takes you to a whole other level. That's something we need to be consistently better with. This is a copy of a quote, literally, that you could say, okay, you know what? We're going to take this quote and we're going to put it for Thursday night.
That's every Leafs game.
Last night, the guy came out with basically the same quote. The only difference was, instead of work ethic, it was willpower.
Willpower?
Not will. Maybe it wasn't willpower. Will something. I don't remember. Stop telling me about the work ethic. I don't care. You're NHL players. You should already be busting your ass off every day. Like, it's amateur hour. It's amateur hour. It's literal amateur hour. I could go back to 2012, 2013, whatever. If I wanted to hear them say the same thing, I'll go watch a Dion Phaneuf interview. Because he was saying the same thing 8 years ago.
And that's when they were
garbage. They somehow made the playoffs. It doesn't matter. Dubas can go do whatever he can go bring in Alex Pietrangelo. Somehow, this team is going to still get smacked in the playoffs, smacked and slaughtered in round 1 by Tampa and Boston. They don't have an identity. And let me remind you, this isn't anything like Columbus. If anyone thinks that, they're going to do what Columbus did, they're mistaken. That team had an identity. That team would go bust their balls every single night.
Scratched and clawed their way in, knowing that their biggest pieces were all leaving.
Yeah. Like, the skill, I don't care about the skill. I know you guys are skillful. Don't tell me that you have to change your work ethic. Do it. I'm tired of hearing it. Just do it.
It's very frustrating because you always hear that the guys who come into the league and are all skill. So, those first rounders that never seem to work out, that they come in, they don't change the way they're playing because their game doesn't adapt, right? And you either sink or swim. You're like Sam Bennett, who adjusts his game and survives, or anyone else, right? And the thing with the Leafs is their players, like Mitch Marner and that, Mitch Marner has been said to be the next Patrick Kane at points. They're going to be the next generation of players that go, I was a Mitch Marner fan growing up. The skill, all this. But then it's these are players that, in the London Knights, for a fact there were times where Mitch Marner could take a game or two off. He was just that good.
Yeah, but the thing is you said it's junior, right?
Yeah.
That's something that happens in junior. But you come to the NHL and realize you're not playing against some guys who are going to make the NHL and some guys who, they got drafted into the CHL but really aren't going to turn out. Now you're playing against grown-ass men who have made the NHL and are busting their ass every night.
And they're good enough. Marner's a 90-point guy. Matthews can score 50. He probably scores 50 a bunch more times, except because, the shoulder injuries he's had in the past few years. Right. Tavares, incredible. And it's just, I can't imagine what it's like as a Leafs fans to see that they have all this potential and they just continue to fall apart.
That's been the issue since the beginning of the year. Listen, Mike Babcock was saying these things 3 years ago. And listen, I'm not going to sit here. I'm not promise you right now.
He had his own things.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Mike Babcock should be the coach.
Usage and all that aside.
There's a whole other set of issues. And, if you want to go back, listen to the Babcock fired episode, the Emergency Podcast. I'm sitting here telling you that the same problem that Babcock had is the same problem that now Sheldon Keefe has. And I don't know who to blame. Because if you think that, because I've seen this take on Twitter. If you think that if we still had Babcock and Lou, that we'd be a better team.
No.
Leo Komarov would be a Maple Leaf still on a ridiculous contract. William Nylander, Matt Martin, perfect. William Nylander probably would have been traded for pennies, and I don't even know if Mitch Marner would be signed. And again, John Tavares would not be a Maple Leaf.
No.
5 things right there.
It's 100% on the players now. Because
that's the issue. That's the issue I have.
Because Dubas has made his moves, and Sheldon Keefe is now using the players as they were always meant to be played. You don't have Spezza playing 30 minutes a night or a Game 7 last few minutes, right?
The issue here with what I had is, yes, this team, this is solely on the players. Solely, okay, not 100%. There's obviously blame. There's always blame on the coach, always blame on the GM. But I go on Twitter after the game and it's fire Dubas. Man, the guy brought in players. The guy brought in John Tavares. The guy literally had to somehow get rid of Patrick Marleau. The guy somehow had to get rid of Nikita Zaitsev.
I'm going to bring up the pictures I sent you of what was trending last night on Twitter. It was...
Let the players take the accountability instead of automatically going to the GM. This is why the team's been garbage for 4 years, because everyone's been blaming the coach, and now they fired the coach, and now you're going to the next person.
Keefe, fire Dubas, # embarrassing, emergency goalie, all the stuff that was trending on Twitter last night.
It's ridiculous. It's a joke.
By the way, we don't mean to just quickly go by this, but David Harris. If you haven't seen the video of him going back into the Carolina Hurricanes locker room afterwards and Rod Brindamore's speech, go mention it, because yes, we are talking about the Leafs here, and of course this podcast focuses on the Habs and the Leafs. That the Dave Harris story is fantastic, and the Hurricanes actually they're selling his shirt of his number and all that, and I believe that some of I'm gonna get the tweet up here, that apparently they are working together to find a charity. This is the Hurricanes tweet. Dave will be getting royalties, but we are also working with him to identify a kidney foundation that will receive a portion of the proceeds. And of course, these are, Dave Harris shirts that the Hurricanes are selling. So, yes, we are ripping the Leafs a lot here, but we are also, I want to acknowledge, it's better than Scott Foster.
Yeah.
And what an incredible story, honestly. Like, great for him.
Incredible.
I'm so happy for him.
Can I bring up one more Keefe? Can I just bring up a Keefe quote quickly?
Yeah.
It looks like the process that we want to go through is to just get embarrassed enough to the point where we just really look in the mirror and recognize what's required for us to be able to compete at a high level at this stage of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear... Listen, I don't care anymore if I'm being the fun police. I don't want to hear a drop of music during practice. That's a privilege for playing good. I don't want to hear that Lady Gaga was playing. I don't want to hear Justin Bieber was playing. I want these guys busting their ass off during the practice. I don't care about that you want to hear music. I don't. It's over. You've lost. The players have lost. That's it.
I just want to read you something very quickly, Alex. And I'm not trying to suggest the Habs can still make the playoffs here, but the Montreal Canadiens are only 6 points behind the Leafs. That's the position the Leafs have put themselves into. The Habs, who have had 2 8-game losing streaks and got season swept by the Detroit. Mark Dumont asked us, what's worse, losing to the Detroit Red Wings 4 times or losing to your own
losing
employee?
to your own
AHL Zamboni driver. And again, last note on the Leafs in this. We watch sports for situations like David Harris, eh?
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Definitely.
It is, and you gotta admit, it is hilarious. Hilarious.
If I wasn't a Leaf fan, it would be absolutely hilarious.
He's on the ice with the Marlies right now. Actually, he's David Harris.
That's just splendid.
You know he brought the game puck too, right?
Yep.
Shout out to him getting first star too.
You had to give him first star.
Yeah. And good on the Leafs fans for everyone giving him a good ovation when he made that last save when he first came in. Yeah.
Of course. Last thing. This is by far, I said this on my voicemail DM. I'm not sure. I sent them 3. I don't even remember which one they played. I said, this is honestly worse than the last 10 minutes and overtime of Game 7 in 2013.
You know what's hilarious that you say that? I just opened Twitter to double check everything, and Sportsnet just put out a thing about Steve Zalafar saying, quote, forget about Game 7 in 2013, 16, 19, forget about all of them. They just lost to a 42-year-old Zamboni driver who works for them.
Right.
Quote.
Right. Yeah.
Anything else that you need to get out about the Leafs?
No.
All right. I suggest now, we're good
Montreal.
with David Harris, and I don't know how we followed this up, to be honest with you. But the Montreal Canadiens, they won last night, which was pretty... You know what? They always have really fun games against the Sens.
Yeah.
They really, really do. Carl Alzer got called up, too. Did you see that?
I did see that. It was quite surprising.
His first NHL game in about a year. Emergency call-up because Victor Mete and Xavier Ouellet both got hurt against the Capitals.
Oh.
Which, of course, still has to happen. And apparently the AHL guys are really, really happy that he got called up. Because if you know anything about Carl Alzner, he's actually a very, very, very good person. Never heard a bad thing or read a bad thing about the guy. So the Habs are somehow still in a race here. But, of course, I wonder if this means that Bergevin will keep an Ilya Kovalchuk, will keep a Tatar because he thinks his team is in it, Or are they actually going to do the move?
Well, listen, I think from my perspective, the obvious answer is to sell.
Yes.
You have Tatar. Just look at what what the Devils got for Coleman. You obviously have Petrie. Last night they said Petrie's probably not going to get traded on headlines.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously have Kovalchuk. That's another guy. But to be honest, at the end of the day, and we were talking about this before we started recording, he's probably going to sell off just the bottom players. And, Thompson, Cousins, and Dale Weiss, or et cetera, whatever other depth players you have.
That's really it. See, what's really interesting to me is there have been rumbling. So, as you mentioned before I go to Colorado, that Pierre LeBrun said at one point it sounded like the Hurricanes were prepared to offer a first-round pick of Jake Bean for Jeff Petrie. Now, that's a big deal, and of course, Jeff Petrie's kind of the player they would really like. A puck mover, defenseman, has another year left because they don't normally do rentals. But I think that Petrie probably going to Carolina is off the table now because they're probably going to have to give up a good bit for Robin Lehner. But I think the big thing to talk about with the Habs and the trade deadline is them in Colorado. Now, the Avalanche have had the same scout at the last few of Montreal's games. Mark Bergevin and Scott Mellenby, of course, assistant GM, Scott Mellenby, were in Colorado as well. Bergevin did say because his daughter goes to the University of Colorado, he was there. I want to believe you, but at the same time, why'd you bring Scott Mellenby? And also him and Joe Sakic were both kind of laughing about it. And reporters out of Colorado have said that first of all, there's rumors Carey Price is getting traded to Colorado.
Yeah,
that's not happening, right? No, but if it did, I wouldn't be a Habs fan anymore.
I'd be in tears.
Like, if you could trade him anywhere else, I'd be okay with it.
We'd have to do an emergency podcast.
But if it was,
I'd be crying.
If they traded him to Colorado, that'd be it. I would be a Colorado fan. The HFRs are done. They're CFRs now. AFRs. Avalanche fan reactions, all right? That's what's going to happen. But anyway, there's been talks that that they were looking at Petrie, probably not going to happen. They've looked at Kovalchuk, and they've looked at Tomas Tatar. And really, the Habs are interested in Adam... Is it Adam Graves? No, that's his dad. There's Ryan Graves, sorry, who I believe is 24, young left-handed defenseman. So I wonder if instead of maybe a futures deal, it's going to be a first or a second rounder, and maybe Graves comes the other way from Colorado. Maybe that's the deal that could happen.
Okay.
Or it's Kovalchuk. I'd be very surprised if the Habs and the Colorado Avalanche didn't have a deal coming between them.
See, when I was making my notes, my 9 pages of notes, no need to brag, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I actually did it. I only put Tatar on the list for forwards.
Yeah.
I didn't put anyone else from Montreal.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Not Kovalchuk?
No, because my other names I thought just seemed like more of an option. Because was it Engels who came out and talked about the 1-year contract?
No, that was Drager. And Drager's had a rough few days. But Eric Engels talked about how the Bruins could still be in on Kovalchuk because they have cap room. And yeah, Drager said the possibility could be a 1-year, $3 million deal with Kovalchuk and the Habs. And from everyone else, it seems to be like the Habs are still considering both options and looking at what the best available offer will be for Kovalchuk.
Right.
Which, I mean, just do a handshake deal if you want to bring him back. So to bring him back in the summer, you idiot.
Nope.
Get the asset.
Nope.
I mean, they traded Marco Scandella, of course, for a conditional 4th and a 2nd. Fantastic return for the Habs.
Yeah.
I love Marco Scandella, by the way. So, and apparently, Scandella already said that he'll probably be coming back. He said he didn't rule out a return to the Habs. So why are you not doing the same for Kovalchuk? Send him to the Bruins so that the Bruins could make the Cup final again. They could win the Cup, and I wouldn't be surprised. What are you doing? Trade him. Asset management. Come on.
He's supposed to be the best at asset management. That's what, everyone's saying.
Hey, listen, I was excited. Scandella was some good thing. Oh, the Penguins just tied it up. I see my computer screen.
Yes.
But just trade. There's no excuse not to trade Kovalchuk. Absolutely none.
Zero excuse. Zero. It's you know, I get Petrie. I can imagine the price for him is going to be high. I mean, I don't really get Tatar. You know what the thing for me is Tatar is he's having such a career year because he's doing so well that I have this feeling that going into next year, he might not do as well and his value drops. Not only does it drop because he has 1 year left on his contract, but his value drops because he's not doing as well. That's the issue I have.
He will score, of course, 20 goals because that is what Tomas Tatar does, but he will not put up the numbers that he has this year. And for example, he's got 55 points in 65 games played. His career high is 58 points. Last year is a Hab for 80 points. So that's he's put up his best years in Montreal, but at the same time you have to think, how long is that going to last for?
Exactly.
So, and it's interesting that Friedman made a point of saying that. Oh, did the Penguins just score again?
Yeah.
Dang. Friedman made a point. Oh, it was Sid Crosby too. What a great guy. It was pointed out that of course Petrie's probably won't be getting dealt, and that of course they've talked about Kovalchuk, but I find it funny that Friedman didn't say there was something to do with Tatar and that he didn't say there wasn't anything happening, because before it was definitely with Tatar and that you needed to blow Montreal socks off. By the way, socks. I'm wearing polar bear socks today, so I find it very interesting. And it makes me think that maybe a Tatar-Graves deal could happen. And I mean, I really do think that would be a good... I won't sit there and say I want a first, a second, and Ryan Graves, sorry. But if it was like a second and a Graves type deal, I think that'd be really good for Montreal.
Probably.
That's a young left-handed defenseman, which I've been screaming about. And Alex Romanov is not going to come in and play top 2 minutes next year.
Right.
So...
Ben Sherratt will.
You say that, man. He's been really good. He's
not.
Thomas Tatar. Thomas. What? Ben Sherratt.
Thomas Caberlet? What?
No. Ben Sherratt has 9 goals this year. He had a pair against the Caps, and he was the game winner.
Why can't I say he's good?
He's a great piece to have, but at the same time, your left side shouldn't live and die.
Exactly.
On Ben Sherratt.
Exactly.
So, but looking
at... Can you, just quickly before we end the Montreal stuff, can you tell me how... Shea Weber has looked since miraculously recovering from a month injury in 5 days?
He's looked good. Okay. This is what's weird to me. He's looked really good in my opinion.
Man, that's the weirdest thing.
Now, at the same time, this is Shea Weber. I don't think he feels pain. So he's probably hurt.
Probably.
He just
Would you be surprised if, a month after the season is over,
he's gone? 6 months?
He has to have surgery.
Absolutely
Would you be
not.
surprised?
No.
Because I wouldn't.
No.
I wouldn't either.
No.
It's just like, why would you... The thing for me is I understand, you're an NHL player, you really want to play NHL games. And I guess I'm looking at how basketball is and relating it back to hockey and this whole load management situation. Mm-hmm. I think load management, it's important for older players, like someone like Shea Weber. Does he really need to play back-to-backs?
No, of course not.
Probably not on a team like Montreal. So why not say, hey, if you need surgery, get the surgery now. Or if you don't need the surgery but you need to rest, take the rest. Because last time I checked, we're still paying you for the next 100 years.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
The only reason I think Shea Weber's not doing that is because he does have that old school hockey mentality of play, and at the same time we talked about it last show. If he plays all his games, his 1,000th is in Nashville. And of course, if anyone's forgotten, he used to be the captain of the Predators until he came to Montreal in the PK Subban deal. Right. And we talked about load management. Carey Price played his 15th game in 16 last night. So his 15th start in 16 Habs games. Yeah. What are you doing?
Like, do you really have to...
You gotta shut up. He's been great.
I know, but you're also paying him for the next 100 years.
I'm not defending it. I'm pointing out you are pushing Carey Price. This is what's annoying. Forget about bringing in a star player to come help you. Yeah. How is it for all the cap space you have not brought in a backup to help him? Keith Kincaid could be sent to the ECJL and could be a mess.
You brought in Keith Kincaid. I think, you look at what they did. Oh, Keith Kincaid's our guy. Keith Kincaid didn't work out. Then you
What did they do last year?
Who they had? I don't even remember who they had last year.
It's a new backup every year.
But who was it last year?
It's Antti Niemi.
Don't talk about Ben Scrivens.
Antti Niemi was their backup. Condon, Scrivens.
What's Antti Niemi doing now?
I think he's retired.
No, that sucks.
How have you not just bucked up and like forget about like going? I get it, star players, whatever, taxes. Jesus Christ, dude! How hard is it to overpay a backup goalie so Carey Price only has to play 50 games? What are you doing? That makes no sense. This team has just had this terrible habit of just rushing their stars back and just pushing their faces into the mud when it comes to playing. Like, there you go, you're going to play. Oh, it's on the players, but we're going to make you play because we're going to put the pressure on you. And
exactly.
And of course, they're proud athletes and they're going to do it until the end because, listen, the Habs, they're not out of it amazingly because of how much of a joke the Atlantic is outside of Bruins and Tampa. But honestly, your season is done. I don't understand why. Was I excited when they won last night? Yeah, because it was a great game. And for some reason, it was like a home game because Ottawa lull. And Carey Price was beating up Brady Tkachuk, which was hilarious. But I don't know what they're doing.
Neither do I.
Just one more thing on Montreal.
Okay.
A piece that if we're going to guarantee they're going to do is Nate Thompson. A depth centerman who was really good on the on the penalty kill. And I wouldn't be surprised if a team like Pittsburgh takes a look at Nate Thompson, to be honest with you.
You think so?
He's cheap, and yeah, he kills penalties. I think we're going to split this up. Hey, Alex, break the fourth wall a bit here. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode of ripping on the Leafs and trying to understand what load management and the Habs hate against each other. But if you enjoyed this episode, why don't you like it or share or subscribe? Whatever you have to do, follow, leave a review, all that kind of stuff wherever you listen to your podcast. Check out the show's Instagram page. Check out the YouTube channel to find clips and all that. Check out me and Alex and Daniel's social media accounts and all that type of stuff. And, of course, wish Daniel luck. Tweet at him because he has an interview with TSN coming up. The Score next month, and hopefully Sportsnet gets back to him as well.
And make sure you listen to the next episode where we talk about the rest of the league.
And my YouTube channel.
Of course.
I'm going to plug myself here. We will see you next time.